Hello, Tiffany Fisher Artist here, and today I will share all my Angry Bird memories in honor of their 10th anniversary. After playing the game in 2011, I will tell you how I became a fan and how I'm still hooked to the franchise for 8 years. How I became a fan of Angry Birds. On December 4, 2011 is when I started playing the game on an iPod Touch. Then after playing it, I was like, this game is awesome! I love it! Well, before I was a fan, I recognized seeing those birds as plush toys in Walmarts. And before I even knew what Angry Birds is, I was like, nah, I'm not interested. But when I started playing the game, I started loving it. And when I remember the plush toys I saw, I wanted one so bad, which was red. But my parents wouldn't let me get them. But I told them the game was awesome. The plush toy I ever wanted was the red bird, which is named Red. I was at Kmart Christmas shopping and they had the Angry Bird plushies too. But coming out of the store, I see a red plush backpack clip sitting on the parking lot and I decide to grab and put it in my pocket. Besides, it was already bought and someone must have dropped it. And the red backpack clip was one of my very first Angry Bird plushies I got to add to the collection. I kept this red plush for a very long time and still remembered where I got it. Now, collecting plush toys and stuff was a challenge due to my parents not having money, but there were friends in my middle school that gave me Angry Birds stuff in the past, but sadly I lost most of them. But on the bright side, I still kept my red backpack clip. I even got more than plush toys. I even got hats, shirts, and a bedding set, but I sadly no longer have them. But I can remember what merchandise I had in 2012. I had a 5-inch red that makes sound and still kept it. The first few Angry Bird plushies I ever got in 2012 was Red Chuck Bomb Laser Chuck from Angry Bird Space. Yes, these were the first few plushies I got. Back then, I didn't draw any Angry Birds, but I did enjoy collecting the plushies and playing the space game Angry Birds Space. I was still enjoying Angry Birds, but later in the year I was wishing for some other things to happen in the Angry Bird franchise, like a cartoon series, since they made these cool cinematic trailers. Luckily in 2013, we got a 2 to 3 minute series, Angry Birds Toons, that launched on the Angry Birds apps in March 2013 with 52 episodes every Sunday. This series was pretty good and I loved the first season. Then later in 2013, they launched a racing game called Angry Birds Go. But when I tried to download on my iPod Touch 3rd generation that I used to have it was incompatible. So for Christmas in 2013, I asked for an iPad, and when I got it, it was compatible for my iPad. I enjoyed this game so much, even though it was really hard to play to me. One of my friends in high school in my freshman year always gave me tips on playing the Angry Birds Go game, and I finally got through it. Then I had one Angry Bird character I liked so much, and it was a pink bird called Stella. Speaking of Stella, now moving on to the 2014 part of my memories. Rovio announced a spin-off called Angry Birds Stella featuring Stella and 5 new Angry Bird characters, Poppy, Dahlia, Willow, Luca, and Gale, aka Bad Princess. While I was still hooked to the franchise, and surviving and avoiding that god-awful Flappy Bird game, I still loved Angry Birds, and I was on the hype train for Angry Birds Stella. Even I did so much art of Stella before the game was released. During those times, Rovio on Twitter promotes my art on their blog, but then starts following me on Twitter. Here's what it says on the blog. Today, we'd like to dedicate a moment to one of our biggest fans. This super fan needs no introduction, at least around the Angry Birds HQ. We have all been admiring her amazing art on Facebook and Twitter, and we've been blown away by her skills. Here's a little example. Around here, she's known as Angry Tiff, but you may know her as Tiffany Fisher. As you can see, this girl's got some talent. She has been blessing us with her drawings, comics, and her boundless enthusiasm for some time now, but recently she's been celebrating the release of Angry Birds Stella with some killer Stella arts. See what I mean? Clearly, she's superpowered. Yes, Tiff, we like it. Keep it up. Then during those times, I won some of their contests and giveaways. The very first contest I won was the Left-Handers Day 2014 poster, where I drew a Stella with my left hand, and then Robios chose me and I won their poster. I even won some of their Stella giveaways too. I won a big poster and a scarf. I won the poster for doing a Halloween Stella fan art in their contest called Stelloween. I was not proud of the art, but I'm surprised I won it. Not only Robio promoted my art or followed me on Twitter, they also noticed my 16th birthday in 2014 and made me a Stella birthday card with my name on it. Back then, I had to go to summer school on my birthday, which sucked. But when I got home, looking at my older Facebook, they sent me a card. And they totally made my day. I remember for my 16th birthday, I got an airbrush set thing and made a custom Stella shirt back then. But unfortunately, I don't have the pictures anymore, but they turned out pretty good at least. Also, back then, my art was kind of bad and rushed and trashy, but there's always improvement and could be better. My art gotten better in late 2014, but still could be better. So yeah, these are all the Angry Birds Stella arts and drawings in 2014. In 2014, there was 2 Angry Bird games coming besides a Stella spinoff. The first game that got released in summer 2014 was Angry Birds Epic. And to be honest, this game was really good, but there were several levels I got stuck on, but I beat the first few levels in the game after it was launched. Then here I am drawing fan art, but it's still rushed and trashy today. And I'm not surprised Robio featured it, but I was not proud of the art itself, as you can see in my trash. Yep, they look bad, but they could be better. And another game that got released after Stella spinoff was Angry Birds Transformers. And to be honest with you, I'm not a huge Transformers fan, but this game is cool and fun and I enjoy it played years ago. I did a couple Transformers fan arts, but they're Stella based. So here we have Stella as Archie and did some made up Transformer Poppy since I don't know much about Transformers despite that I'm not a huge fan of Transformers. Now let's talk about the Stella spinoff. On September 4th, 2014, a spinoff Angry Birds Stella was released to app stores. And this became one of my favorite Angry Bird games in the entire franchise. I beat all the levels and waited for the coming soon. Then later in 2014, they also announced they're coming out with toys and plush. Here we got telepods and some plushies by Commonwealth. To be honest, I actually wanted the plushies instead of the telepods, but I actually got both the telepods and the plushies. For Christmas in 2014, I got an 8-inch Willow and still kept it. Then in early 2015, a store called Justice had the Stella plushies, and I got the entire set. But the only thing I didn't get was the backpack clips, but it's okay. At least I got the whole 5-inch set. And we also got an animated series. It was pretty good, but not as entertaining as Toons. But I loved it! My favorite episode was the portrait where Gail gets Willow to paint a portrait for her. It was really cute. Now moving on to the 2015 part of my Angry Bird memories. In early 2015, I did some art based off of the upcoming bubble shooter Angry Birds Stella Pop. And I can tell my art has improved and gotten better, and I was really proud of it. I was looking forward to the game, and it looks really challenging, but in my opinion, when I started playing this, I thought the original Stella game was better. Other than just talking about Stella Pop, let's talk about how my birdsona Tiffany was hatched. Because Romeo made a post on Facebook called Birdified, where you draw yourself as an Angry Bird and you comment below it, then it got featured on their Facebook page. Romeo also featured one of my fan arts on their Facebook page, inspired by some hockey bird thing in Angry Bird Friends or Seasons, I can't remember. I posted to them on Twitter and they featured it on their Facebook page. While I was not proud of the art itself, I was proud to see my art has improved a little. Now my art officially went downhill when I did digital on MS Paint in summer of 2015. As you can see, my horribly drawn Angry Bird characters in Stella Pop style. Don't prove me wrong, but MS Paint is literally the worst drawing software and can ruin your art. However, I did tons of drawings on MS Paint. They're still bad, but the only one as good is my birdsona Tiffany in Toons style. So yeah, this is the only good MS Paint drawing I ever did. Still, the art itself is trash, so I went back to traditional drawing. Now I'm going to share all my traditional Angry Bird drawings of 2015. Just don't ever use this cheap, crappy MS Paint. And after Angry Birds Stella Pop was released, there was another new game coming up called Angry Birds Fight. It was a fun game, but I still miss it today, honestly. But I'd like to share some fan art from Fight I did. Now let's talk about the later part of my 2015 memories. Earlier times before Angry Birds 2 game was launched on July 30th, and my 17th birthday was coming up, my dad had a baker make an amazing Angry Birds Stella cake, which is the size of a wedding cake, which turned out the best birthday I ever had. Then when I tweeted pics of the cake to Robio on Twitter, they replied and I replied back, as you can see in the screenshots. Now let's talk about Angry Birds 2. A few weeks before the game was released, I did some fan art from the game and tons of Silver fan art too. Silver is a new Angry Birds character I like. I wanted a plush of her, however Robio did reveal an official Silver plush on our Instagram page, but unfortunately I never got a response on when will it be released. But they did remake a Silver, but unfortunately Commonwealth did not make the plush. However, there was a contest called Your Own Angry Birds 2 Spell, and I won 3rd place for making Rainbow Potion, where it can make a bird go faster than Chuck and pop all the piggies in one time. Unfortunately, I did not win a Silver plush, but I did win some posters and some toys of a chili and golden duck. But unfortunately, I no longer have them, but at least I still have the posters. Now moving on to the late 2015s, before and after we got more footage of the first Angry Birds movie. In late 2015, I was looking forward to seeing the Angry Birds movie before a teaser trailer was released. So I would like to share some fan art I did before the teaser trailer was released. Yep, back then I was totally on the hype train for the first Angry Birds movie. I kept watching the trailer until the entire film came out, before and after the last 2 trailers dropped. It was early 2016 and I still binge watched the trailers and made more fan art. So here's my early 2016 Angry Birds movie fan arts. And then I finally got some merchandise like plush toys from the Commonwealth website in March, 2 months before the movie came out. A couple weeks before the first Angry Birds movie, here's more art I did. My art was improving until things went downhill in digital art again. Now let's look at all my 2016 traditional arts. Before November, I was thinking about giving my bird son Tiffany a hatchling, and I named her Madison. On November 3rd, 2016, Madison was my very first hatchling and became my sweetest hatchling. Oh, you're so cute, Madison. Thanks. In late 2016, Robio announced a new Angry Birds anime series after Stella Tunes and Picky Tales called Angry Bird Blues, which focuses on the blues from the first Angry Birds movie and the adorable hatchlings. The series launched its first episode on the Toons TV app on March 10, 2017. This series was cute and funny. My favorite episode was the cutest weapon, where Samantha uses cutest weapon to get the cookies from Olive. Okay, I do not want to talk about 2017, but I'll talk about only the Angry Bird moments in 2017. First, let's take a look at all of my 2017 Angry Bird arts. Okay, let's talk about the early 2018 Angry Bird memories. First, let's take a look at my early 2018 arts. While 2018 was turning out a better year than 2017, I was planning to make an animated series since I'm in the freedom now and out of school and never went to college yet. So I decided to make my own series based off of my cringy plush show Angry Birds Tiffany, but better than the show itself. I decided to reboot the series titled Tiffany's Adventures on Colorful Island, which launched on my channel on April 7, 2018. However, the series went downhill by its first season and sneak peek because of bad writing in 14 episodes. But however, the second season of this fan-made Angry Birds parody has improved by my script editor Flipspoon in 2019. Now let's talk about the Angry Birds 2 hat design contest and my return to Facebook. In spring 2018, Robio announced a contest called Design Your Own Hat Contest for Angry Birds 2. I entered and designed one for Silver called Uni Hat. Then after the contest ended, Robio chose my design for the finalist post for Silver. Most people chose my design against the pig hat design. After the poll ended, I won. Then Robio sent me a package with goodies. They made me smile, and I'm proud of seeing my hat design in the game. Okay, I will talk about the worst Angry Birds memory. Against the 2018 Pride Month post. On June 1st, 2018, Robio posted a fan art for Pride Month where you had to submit a men love men or women love women fan art, like Red X Chuck, for example. And I was fully against the post, but then Robio caught me and almost banned and blocked me for liking a reply from T Swanee. Luckily, they didn't block me. So they got on me and T Swanee and we both apologized. But I realized I made a mistake and learned my lesson to respect the LGBT stuff, even in the Angry Birds or any cartoon community. Now let's move on and talk about something else. It was my 20th birthday and they finally noticed me once again after they made me that Stella card in 2014. But this time they decided to send me a birthday package. And when I got it, they sent me 2 medium hatchlings plus Red and J. They also sent me tons of stickers, cards, and a bunch of Angry Bird goodies, which totally made my day. As you can see in my 20th birthday video, which I did last year, but if you haven't seen it yet, I'll put a link in the description so you can see it. Okay, let's talk about the first Angry Birds drawing challenge that I did back in May. Even it was 7 months early before the 10th anniversary, I decided to do my first Angry Birds drawing challenge since I had other projects to do in December. But let's take a look at all 31 drawings from the challenge I did. Okay, before February, we were waiting on a teaser trailer for the sequel for the Angry Birds movie. I was expected the first trailer to drop after Spider-Man Into Spider-Verse got released in theaters or when the Lego Movie 2 came out. Instead, it dropped after How to Train Your Dragon The Hidden World got released. Before the trailer dropped, we got a picture of a purple feather, and I thought Gale would be the bird villain of the sequel. But when the first trailer dropped, the villain was called Zeta instead. But darn, I thought it would be Gale, but after watching the first trailer, I was totally on the hype train. Then the second trailer dropped a month later, and it looked like the movie turned out better than the first. Then in late July, we got the final trailer, and the movie was set to release on August 14th. While waiting for the movie, I got some merchandise from Target and Amazon, then got some plushies after the movie from eBay. And after seeing the movie, I noticed they actually redeemed themselves from the first movie, because the film was directed by a creator of a childhood show, Flapjack. I gave it a 10 out of 10. But there were a few flaws I had with this movie, and the biggest one is Red X Silver, which is my most least favorite part of the sequel. I don't hate Silver's new design at all, but in my opinion, I wish it could have looked like her from the game. But however, when I watched the movie, I was like, I love Silver no matter what. My favorite Angry Birds character, along with Zeta and Courtney. My top 3 favorite characters from the movie, and second flaw I had was the Baby Shark scene. I mean, seriously, what's so great about Baby Shark anyway? I hate that song. Why did they have to add that to the sequel? Ugh! Everything else, this movie was pretty funny to me. As much as I'm a Red and Ruby and Chuck and Stella shipper, since I'm fully against the Red and Silver ship, I decided to now support Red and Stella. Whether anyone likes it or not, I'm now okay with this ship. Overall, I still like this movie, as I find it enjoyable and funny than the first movie. Although, I still like both movies, as I'm a die-hard Angry Birds fan. But if you don't like this movie, I totally respect your opinion. Okay, now we're on the last part of the Angry Birds memories. All I'm going to say is thank you, Angry Birds, for making 10 years awesome. Cheers to another 10 years, Angry Birds, and another 10 years I will do more fan art for y'all. But before I say thanks for watching, I made something for the Angry Birds. Happy 10th anniversary! Well, that concludes my Angry Birds Memories video. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe for more videos coming soon from Tiffany Fisher Artist.